Before I begin, I would like to thank the organizers for your invitation to speak, and also my audience online for your time. Today I am actually going to talk about the cell and gene therapy market, and with some focus of China market. And at the end, I will introduce GenScript Biotech, which is my company that I represent. So the global biologics market is again picking up its pace, and in the near term, it is expected to grow at a CAGR of 15%. And this is because, in addition to strong monoclonal antibody products, we are expecting launches of many more innovative projects, such as CAR-T and gene therapy, ADC, and bispecific antibody, and even exosomes. So the biologics market has gone through a disruptive phase, and a new growth phase is ongoing based on these new therapies. By 2025, cell and gene therapy market is expected to grow to $12 billion with CAGR of 36%. As of February 2022, CGT products accounts for about 12% of entire drug industry's clinical pipeline, and at least 16% of preclinical pipeline. But as you know, most companies do not disclose their preclinical assets, so the true figure may be considerably higher. I think CGT market will show exponential growth as that we have seen with antibodies in the last 2 decades. So as you can see here, most of CGT assets are initiated by small venture-type biotech companies. Big pharma companies either collaborate or license in these assets to further develop these assets and launch them if they're successful. Usually, the original research behind the new platform is conducted by academicians who go on to set up their own biotech companies using the money from venture capital firms. And this is because venture capital firms have business models that are more comfortable with risks that come with these type of projects, but not the big pharma who is very risk adverse. So if we take a look at how pharmas and investors get access to CGT assets, partnerships are far more common than merger and acquisition. As you can see, from 2015 to 2019, among 512 deals, 442 of them were partnerships, and only 70 were merger and acquisitions. Maybe this is obvious because this gives people access to assets and reduce risks at the same time. And so now I want to switch gear a little bit and talk about China market. Generic focused China is currently undergoing a series of overlapping innovation cycles. Innovation Wave 1.0 started in the early 2000s with fast followers such as Me Too and Me Better drugs on validated targets like PD-1 and PD-L1. Innovation Wave 2 came around 2016. We began to see more activities in original indication expansions and combination therapies. These areas demanded more technical expertise. Innovation Wave 3.0, the most recent and advanced level of innovations, involve completely new mechanisms of actions or novel technologies such as cell and gene therapies. So this is a map drawn by Deloitte on number of clinical trials by region. As you can see, US is the clear leader with almost 4,000 trials. But what is striking is that as a single nation, China has the second most number of trials ongoing with more than 1,000 trials, exceeding other nations by far. And this is a map that is 1 year old, and I'm sure the numbers have increased quite significantly from last year. So, however, many challenges do exist. There are limited manufacturing capabilities worldwide because technology is still new and immature, and costs are high for the same reason. And there aren't enough expertise and capabilities to run CGT clinical trials. And safety is still a big concern. And from sponsors' point of view, recruiting patients are very challenging because there are so many competing trials on the same or similar targets. And also patient stratification is also not very straightforward for these new therapies. And also patients need a lot of attention. And so managing these patients are also a challenge. And also a high level of local regulatory and market access uncertainties still do exist. So to overcome these challenges and speed up the drug development process, a maturing ecosystem is being developed for a successful biologics market. Collaborations are happening between government and many R&D organizations. Also, many multinational companies are actually very, very interested in collaborating with local companies in China, as I will show you some examples later. And also, as I said before, VCs are willing to pour money into cell and gene therapy startups. And also, companies need to work out manufacturing process earlier rather than later, even in platforms where technology is still immature. CDMOs can help a lot in this regard. So if anybody is interested in China CGT market, one needs to kind of understand the regulatory landscape of China. And this outlines the history of China regulations. In 2016, a 21-year-old Chinese college student who was looking for a treatment for a rare form of cancer underwent a few cycles of unregulated immunotherapy treatment and eventually died. And this event triggered a public outcry and resulted in the government placing an abrupt 19-month ban on cell and gene therapy research and also clinical use. But between 2018 and 2019, the Chinese government, led by the National Health Commission, or NHC, and the National Medical Product Administration, which is called NMPA, released a series of progressive policies to strengthen regulations in the CGT sector. The regulation reforms resulted in a fast-track approval process for products targeting unmet medical needs. And as you can see, some examples of products from MNC pharmas enjoyed a very shortened timeline for approval, such as Biogen's Speranza and also MSD's Gardasil. So understanding the current regulatory landscape is one of the key in forming your China market strategy. And because these reforms are still in progress, if your therapy is innovative enough, you can work with KOLs and governments to form a new policy that will be advantageous to your pipelines. And these activities will enable you to plan your commercial activities early and ultimately be successful in China market. So I already told you that collaboration is the predominant form of accessing CGT assets. This is also true in China. Key opinion leaders are forming their own company or transferring their patents to local companies. These local biotech companies are forming collaborations with big multinational companies. The local knowledge base and development capabilities of multinational companies combine together to form a very powerful partnership, which gives you better chance of successfully commercializing cell and gene therapy products. These are some of the examples of collaborations between multinational companies and local Chinese biotechs. Legend is a subsidiary of GenScript Group, which I am part of. Legend formed a worldwide commercialization partnership with J&J on a BCMA CAR-T asset, which enabled Legend to go public on NASDAQ last year. And Novartis used CBMG, which is a local company, to commercialize Kymriah in China. And also Kite formed a joint venture with China's Fosun Pharma to market Yescarta in China. And there are more examples of these type of relationships where collaborations are used to access China market. And since I represent a CDMO company, I should talk about the CDMO market a little bit. For cell therapy and gene therapy, technical barriers are high because, number one, the production platforms are still immature. And number two, most of players are small biotechs, and they do not have capability to manufacture themselves. So role of CDMOs are very, very significant. More than 65% of cell and gene therapy clinical stage products are outsourced compared to 35% for antibodies and proteins. And obviously, as you can see in the graph, this is driving up the cell and gene therapy CDMO market in a very significant way. So if product companies and CDMOs can work together on cell and gene therapy products efficiently, the drug development can be sped up and commercialization can be better planned. This is because CDMOs have experience of various gene and cell therapy manufacturing platforms already. And this basis can produce a new and better manufacturing processes. This will reduce time and cost of development and commercialization. CDMOs also have better understanding of regulatory standards, again, because of experience with many products already. So I represent a company called GenScript Biotech. We are a global CDMO, but most of our development and manufacturing operations reside in China. In 2018, we assisted Legend, which is our sister company that I talked about before, to obtain IND of CAR-T product, which was the first one ever in China. And in 2019, we officially established our CDMO business and launched our new facilities. Last year, we launched our GenScript Biotech brand, and this year, we established a separate legal entity and received Series A funding from Hillhouse Capital, funding of cash of $150 million US dollars and also 125 million in warrants. These proceeds will be used to expand our cell and gene therapy platforms, as well as our antibody business. So this is our track record. 2 years ago, when we established our CDMO business officially, we practically had no IND cases. Now we have 5 IND approved for antibodies, and 3 more are in process of filing with international regulatory agencies. For cell and gene therapy, we have 9 IND approved from NMPA of China, also US FDA, and also in one case from Japan PMDA. and 2 more IND are submitted to US FDA currently. And this track record that we have built so far are why we are the leader in China for cell and gene therapy market because of our strong track record. And what is impressive is the fact that all these track records are obtained in last 2 years. So just to highlight our experience in cell and gene therapy, we have experience of over 60 clinical projects. We have over 30 key accounts with international companies such as Kite. And actually, there are 3 mRNA COVID vaccines in development in China, with the vaccines that are very similar to Pfizer and Moderna vaccines that everybody is aware of. So these 3 vaccines companies in China are, all 3 of them are working with GenScript ProBio. We are providing them with, to help them to provide clinical samples, and we're helping them to get the BLA approval. So I want to mention one case. Shangshui is a pretty large China-based pharma, and we have been working with them from 2019 on, and based on our short collaboration, their TCRT product obtained IND in China. This was very first TCRT IND case in China, and based on that work, also IND was obtained from US FDA. And what's more significant is that we worked with Shangshui and government, the China government, to set the regulatory standards for TCRT projects. This is our capabilities that we have built for our cell and gene therapy business in last 2 years. We have 4 cell and gene therapy product lines. One is Plasmid, also lentivirus. We have lentivirus both adherent and suspension system. And we recently launched our AAV platform as well. For cell and gene therapy business, we are in the leading position in China, and we also have a very significant international business in US as well as Asia Pacific. So this is our Plasmid track record. We offer plasmids from preclinical grade to commercial grade. We have our own bacteria strain to produce these plasmids. And we also offer lenti helper plasmid that have clear IP, and we have obtained FDA DMF. Currently, we have 9 IND cases from China NMPA, US FDA, and also Japan PMDA. So this is our virus track record. We have our own proprietary suspension cell line that has much better terms than the leading brand. The cell line is called Power S293T. Our system is a third generation Lenti system with FDA IND cases. So, and total, we have 3 IND approval and 10 IND projects ongoing for our virus system. We have 2 facilities. One is for our virus and plasmid, which is building 50. And our building 52, which is completely dedicated to our plasmid business, this will be launched in coming July timeframe. Our facilities are ISO 9001 certified, and we're also certified to work on virus from the China government. And our facilities are registered with FDA with FDA Establishment Identifier, or FEI for short, which is a nice thing to have. So this is our commitment. We will always put customers first, and quality will be our top priority, and we will work with you to find the most innovative solutions together, and also will be open to flexible business models. I want to thank everybody for your attention, and I hope to see you in our booth in the coming days. Thank you very much.